widely spread. Our graduates have widely spread all over the nation and even overseas in search of growth, learning, knowledge, and the performances make a difference everywhere. Not only are they established professionals, but also exceptional human beings. We hope that we're able to learn from your wisdom and experience.
I am elated to announce that with this alumni meet, we are initiating with a new series, Careerscape, chalking out the way forward with our alumni. The ambition behind the series is to bring awareness about the numerous career opportunities that will help our fellow mates in choosing the right career path for themselves and in making complete use of whatever prospects the future holds for them. Therefore, no one but our alumni can do this more immaculately. With great enthusiasm and excitement, we request you all to share experiences of your professional lives and outside world with us. We hope that we will be able to follow your footsteps to reach that pedestal of success where you are standing today. I now invite Dolphy ma'am to introduce you all.
So, very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome all students, all Mirandians and all the students and the teachers present here. It's really a great pleasure to welcome you all, and in fact it's really nice to seeing you all blossoming so well in life. So I hope today's session truly proved to be a very enriching session for our current students. So I think that now let's begin with the session. So over to you, Ayushi, now. Thank you so much. So you will be introducing?
Yes, ma'am. Aditi will introduce.
We will be joined today by a panel of our distinguished alumni from batch of 2016. It is such a privilege to have you all here with us today. First, we have Ms. Deeksha Ghai, who is currently working as an analyst in Evolent Health, a US healthcare firm. Next on, we have Ms. Garima Dahia, currently doing her Ph.D. from Tokyo Institute of Technology, Japan. Next, we have Ms. Aditi Sethia, who is presently in her third year of Ph.D. in computer science, IIT Gandhinagar. Next, we have Ms. Harshita Agrawal, who is currently serving as a data analyst at AWS in Munich, Germany. And then we finally have Ms. Himani Gupta, who is an associate managing consultant in MasterCard. We're immensely grateful towards you that you took out time from your busy schedule for us. The stage is all yours. So please come forward and share your journey with us. Thank you.
So Ayushi, are you going to invite one by one? How? Or they will, how do you want?
Yes, ma'am. Deeksha will be coming.
Deeksha, please come forward.
Hi. So I hope you all can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So good afternoon, everybody. I mean, firstly, thank you so much for inviting me over here in this session. I mean, it gives me immense joy to be a part of this session. And I always find ways to come back to Miranda House somehow. And this is the perfect opportunity for me to see my fellow classmates and my teachers. So thank you so much for having me. So I'll just start with a bit of introduction of myself. So I graduated from Miranda House in year 2016. And, trust me, my grad years were the best years of my life. I always think about, Miranda as being my safe space. And, we have wonderful teachers over here. They have not only taught us academically, but also like if you're facing anything, you can go back to them and ask them. So they have been a source of motivation for me, and they've always guided me in the right direction. So thank you so much for that. And I always think about the memories that I have of Miranda House, like organizing the fest, organizing certain events, and also, sitting in the cafeteria, having lunch, sitting in the corridors. So I see Garima over there. We used to have so much fun. I'm sure she'll agree. So yeah, it was the best time. But I just feel some of you may have not experienced it because of this unprecedented times. And here's hoping that things will get normal and you all will also connect offline. That's my hope. So when I was graduating, I was in dilemma, like, what should I do next? What should be my next steps? Like, I should go for PhD or I should go for a job. Um, Thinking about the job, thinking about the placements in college, I couldn't find, analytical roles coming up right after graduation. So I thought it's better to do post graduation first because I always had a love for maths. I always wanted to explore the next steps to it. So that was the right step in the right direction for me, I guess. So I did my post graduation from Department of Mathematics, Delhi University. So when I went there, I was a little scared because the things changed drastically. The syllabus was huge, and I was not literally prepared for it. But gradually, I got a hang of it, and I understood the concepts and everything. The teachers were also good. Talking about joining some kind of say societies or anything, I saw that in the Department of Mathematics there is a placement cell which is run by the students itself. So they used to call the recruiters, they used to contact them, and they used to negotiate the salaries. So it was so great, and I thought it would be amazing if I would be a part of it. It would be a great learning experience for me. So I joined there as a junior coordinator, and initially I used to do things like book some meeting rooms or book some lab sessions. But then I used to learn from my seniors, like what all they're going through, what are the different steps in the process, what all are the interview sessions going on. So it was a great learning experience for me, and that is something which I can share with you all. So when you are a fresher, they really don't ask you so much, they don't go too technical. They just rely on what your technical what your academic skills are. Say if you are a mathematics student, so it is by sure that you are quite logical, and you have an analytical mind, because that is the way you are processing. You're working on theorems, right? So nobody else can work on it because you have an analytical mind. That is why you can work into that direction. That is why you can prove those things. So that is what they're also looking. They're not looking for exact answers. So they will ask you some puzzles, some basic puzzles, and they will not expect you to get an answer. They will expect your approach to be in the right direction. So they can ask you some guess estimate questions, like a random question, say how many ATM are there in Delhi, for example, how many schools are there in Delhi? So they will ask you to come up with a number. So this is something which you will go on a wider approach. You will start from something, you will come back to something. So they wanted to see your approach, what direction you're going into. Then there will be certainly group discussions, and group discussion is not always about speaking a lot. It's about your presence. It's about how you are acknowledging it. So once I was there in a group discussion, and I just made one point, and the other thing which I said was I saw that there was a person who was not allowed to speak. So I just said, can we all just do it a round table? And in that way, that person can also get a chance to speak. And my recruiter was impressed. He was like, okay, I was not allowed to do that managing thing, but I was still doing it. So in that way, you can, show your presence. And yeah, so these were the learnings which I did with my seniors. And when I went to the second year, I was sitting for the placements myself. And during that time, you know, I was not like selected in one round. It was not a happy go ride for me. I did definitely sit for 2, 3 companies, and then I was not selected. But then I there was a company called Novartis. So it's a pharmaceutical company. They had some 3, 4 rounds of interviews. They had one group discussion. They also had a test. So that test it comprises of some logical questions, logical reasoning, and all of those. So I got placed in that company, and I joined over there as an associate statistical programmer. So because of Corona, you must have heard the word called clinical trials, right? So there are clinical trials happening, all of those. So my job was to work on that clinical trials data. That was a patient data. So I used to analyze it, develop some reports out of it, and then those were just sent to the health authorities like FDA, PMDA, etc., to get the drug approvals. So that was my role over there. It was quite interesting. So I joined there as a fresher, but I became a professional out of it. And after the year, I got promotion also. I received certain awards as well for my performance over there, which was quite amazing because it was completely new field for me, coming from mathematics background to looking into a pharmaceutical data was very different, but it was very interesting. Then so after that, after some 2 years or something, I decided to change my career direction, basically move into a different domain altogether, because it's always good to have a diverse skill set on your CV, and also for your personal I think understanding. So I was looking out for a change. So now I was again in the job market, looking for a job. So that's also something which I wanted to share with you all. So now I used to contact recruiters on my own. I used to contact them on LinkedIn. I used to send them emails. And also, it's very important to set up a good LinkedIn profile. It's like I really don't believe in people who say, I know this thing. I don't want to put it up on LinkedIn to show off. It's not about show off. It's about displaying what you know, so that others can also know that, okay, you know this thing. So it's very important to have that on display so that others can get to know it and they can contact you, reach out to you. So have a well maintained LinkedIn profile, have your numbers and everything out there, at least your email IDs, so that people can contact you well. So I did change my job recently in May. I moved to an organization called Evolent Health. So it deals with the US health. It's a US healthcare firm. It deals with the insurance data. So healthcare insurances, claims data. So it's a quite different domain altogether, and it's very interesting. My job over here is to, it's directly a client-facing profile. I work on the implementation of clients. I also work on the automation of the reports that they're using. So it's quite interesting and I'm liking it. So far, so good. Uh, yeah, so when I look back to the day when I was a student in Miranda House, it makes me realize like how much I've grown as a person, because now I was a completely different person. I came out as a fresher and I don't know much, but now I'm constantly learning new things. So now I feel like I still if even if I'm in the job market, I feel like I have to learn new things. I'm constantly enrolled in some courses and also completing them. So it's always a learning thing for you. So I would like to say to you all that when you are in college, you have the best time to realize your potential and to also utilize it in an optimal manner. You have a lot of time right now, so you can definitely learn on new things. You can explore new areas, and it's like when you are working, you just have weekends for you, and that is the time when you have the time for yourself to learn new things, but that is also the time when you want to relax. So it's good if you are in college, you can pick up few things to learn, and it is definitely going to help you a lot. And I feel after this session, some of you will think in the right direction and also will make good career choices. And I really thank you all for inviting me here. And I definitely would have loved if the session was offline, because that way I could just be there in the campus and also meet my teachers individually and all of you individually. So yeah, let's hope for that. Please call me soon again if it is offline, because I really don't want to miss a chance of being there in Veranda House again. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Deeksha Di. Next, we have Ms. Garima Di.
Yes, so good afternoon, everyone, and really thank you for organizing this event, and thank you, Trisha, Ayushi, and Aditi for a nice introduction. And also definitely Dolati ma'am for organizing this event. And it's really like a great pleasure to share our experiences and learn from our friends how they have been, and get to know what they're doing right now. So is like, I would like to share my screen though. So is it possible? So can the host enable, is it possible for me to share my screen?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Ayushi, please make the host.
Settings. Okay, yes. So although I have not prepared much, but I think it's an easy way to do, like it's easy to do this way. So I am Garima Dahia, and I'm currently a doctoral student at Tokyo Tech in Japan. So, and I would start by sharing experience about my education and what I have been through. Yes, so I graduated from Miranda House in 2016, and after that I applied for like, as Deeksha very well explained, that like we were not really sure, like most of us, I believe, that what should be the next step, because as I entered Miranda House, I was in the beginning months, I was so motivated that I would be doing and appearing and like taking the civil services exam. And I believe that that's the case for most of us. Not most of us, but at least some of us, yes. So by the time I graduated, a lot of things changed, and my way of thinking and my interest developed in different directions, I would say. So yes, I decided that right now I would, before taking up the civil services exam or even preparing for it, I am more interested in doing masters, because I got interested in the concepts and some of the applied mathematical areas. I was, to be honest, I was not very much interested in the pure mathematics part, but applied mathematics part really interested me. So then I applied at the time of my graduation. There were like a few many options for me, like in the Delhi University only. There were like you could either, the admissions were happening via your academical marks, like your percentage score also, and then there was the entrance examination also. And apart from that, the JAM exam also was also there. So yes, I appeared, like I applied for all the ways. And then for other research institutes, like I applied for the ICER Trivandrum basically, and other ICERs also. Like I applied for the Pune, the one in the Pune, and yes, in Bhopal also. So yes, I eventually first the results were in sequence. I got selected at a few places, but I could not make the pickup choice which I wanted to be my first choice. So yes, I cleared the IIT Mandi. They have their own entrance examination at that time. I think currently it's the entrance, like the admission is basically happening via the JAM exam only. So at that time, I cleared the IIT Mandi exam, and I got the MSc Applied Mathematics course. Yes, and then after I took admission and I went there to IIT Mandi, I realized that I actually did not expect to be like admitted to University of Delhi based on my academical score, because my score was around 83 percentage. So I think that the cutoff during that time was around the last cutoff was around 89%. But I was pretty sure that I performed well in the entrance examination. So yes, after I went to IIT Mandi, I realized that I was also selected to University of Delhi based on my entrance examination. But then depending on the situation, I chose to be at the IIT Mandi because the campus was really beautiful. And then the course was specifically applied mathematics. So I was quite interested in that. And then after a week, I was in the waiting list of the ICER Trivandrum. And then I realized, and a lot of things happened with me there. It was quite funny actually. So I also got selected for ICER Trivandrum, and I was so confused, to stay at IIT Mandi or to go to ICER Trivandrum. And then due to I talked to some professors at IIT Mandi, and then they suggested that it depends upon you. But at that time I had no power, which direction should I go. So I eventually went to ICER Trivandrum basically. So after going there, I talked to a few professors there, and they told me that it's going to be a long period, because although it was an integrated PhD course, but and there was no option for me to drop like not to continue with the PhD and just to like drop after I complete my master's. So that was a very important thing which I didn't see earlier. So it was basically total a 7 years program, and I wasn't sure at that time that I will be taking up the PhD program or not. Like I was interested in the integrated PhD, but I felt that there should be an option that after a master's, if you don't want to continue with the PhD program, then maybe I'll be able to like just pass with my master's degree, but that was not the case. So I finally decided to go back to IIT Mandi, and then there I completed my master's degree. So yes, from there, finally I graduated in 2018. So after yes, in my final year only, like basically final semester at Mandi. So I got to know about I got an email from the academic division about a Japanese government scholarship. And at that time, I was I actually realized that I am interested in the PhD and the research work basically. So I applied for that scholarship, which I'll talk about a little bit after this slide. So yes, I applied for that. And after graduation, I joined as a statistician at an insurance company in Delhi. And yes, so after I applied in around February or March, I think, in 2018, and then the result was out around September or October in 2018 only, that I have been selected to go out and come to Japan for my doctoral research. And then before coming here, that they have their special provision that for 6 months, for maximum 1 year, you stay as a research student. And then before any time, you can appear for the doctoral entrance examination, and then you can start your doctoral research. So I came here in April 2019. And then I stayed as a research student for 6 months. And then in September, I appeared for the entrance examination. And since October 2019, I've been pursuing my doctoral degree course. So yes, another thing was that since my interest developed more towards applied mathematics, I chose to apply my knowledge into some applied field, specifically some engineering field. And I was very much interested in the transportation engineering field. So currently my research theme is about the traffic flow theory and the intelligent transportation systems, in which I'm performing the statistical and quantitative data analysis. I'm part of my research is also related to machine learning and applying optimization theory. I'm dealing with a huge amount of data, basically. It's a trajectory data, and I'm working on the traffic state estimation methods using prob vehicles, like a part of 100% vehicles. And then also currently, recently, I have started to work as a pricing data analyst at the Daimler Group in Tokyo. And then, yes, I'll talk about, also because I told you that I was also interested in PhD, not just abroad, but also in India. So I appeared for the GATE examination and I got a decent rank, I would say, but that's not enough to get into a very good IIT, I would say. So yes, I would suggest if anybody is preparing for GATE, so try to aim for a very good rank if you're interested to pursue your PhD in India. So, and then I'll talk about the Japanese government scholarship, which I applied. So it's basically a year-long process. It has two methods. You are either taken by the university recommendation process or the embassy recommendation process. So I applied using the embassy recommendation process, and in it, basically, you have to go through a few interviews and exams that happens at the embassy of Japan in India, in Delhi, basically. And yes, I applied for this scholarship. And in this, first you are given the scholarship, you are selected for the scholarship. And only after you are selected, then you have to reach out to the professors and ask for acceptance letters from them. And then if everything happens properly, then in the next year, April, you're ready to go to Japan to pursue your course. It's not just for doctoral course, it's for bachelor's also, and it's for master's also. So yes, yeah. And then my tips for juniors and specifically for people who have just started their final year, I would say that you should look in and look out. So by look in, I mean that you should keep looking in yourself and about what things you are interested in, and what basically like what passions you have about things. So it's not just about like what somebody else is telling you to do. If a lot of people are recommending you and they are saying that you are good in this stuff, you should be doing this, I don't believe that that's the thing. You should believe in yourself and start looking inside what you are interested in. And by lookout, I mean that like like it's not, you do not have to wait for the time when some kind of application would start. Like for example, for this third year people, you don't have to wait like for your final semester to come so that you start looking out for companies, and or maybe your research, where can I get admissions, where can I apply for, what kind of entrance examinations I should take. So I believe that as soon as you enter your graduation course or whichever course you're pursuing, I believe that you can just, alongside all the fun you're having, you should just start looking out and doing a little bit research at least once a week when you're in your first year, and then start doing more research and look for, like, try to find out like what areas you're interested in. Are you interested more towards research, or you're more interested toward industries? So I know it's easy to say than to apply. For me also, I did not think in my first years or second years, but from my learnings and my experiences, I would just suggest for all the people like who are juniors that they should start doing some research, and like if they're interested in some field, they should start looking into it. What kind of skills do they require? And for example, if some company is looking for some data analyst or something, then you should just at least don't prepare in the first year, but just go through it. What skills do they require? What kind of people are they looking for? And some technical skills which you can, like, it's very easy now because the online education system is increasing so fast that you can gain all the skills, and the courses length of courses are also reducing. They're not taking like 6 months or like a year to gain some technical skills. So you can just complete any course, any technical course within like 2 days, 3 days, 48 hours, and like within a week or so. So it's about dedication, how much interested you are in. So that's my tip for all my juniors. Yes. And yeah, if you have any further questions about any topic I can talk about, then please contact me via LinkedIn or email me. Yes, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Garimati, and I hope personally that many would have the same experiences and the similarities that you mentioned, and we hope that we have questions for you at last. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to invite Aditi Di to share her experiences.
Okay, thanks, Ayushi. I'm already enjoying this session, hearing about my fellow Mirandians and also taking in their tips for my journey as well. So yeah, it's great to see all of you around. Okay, so I'll start by telling you what I'm currently doing. I'm currently not into mathematics, but entirely into computer science. I'll share how the switch happened. So right now I'm in my third year of PhD, and I look to design algorithms for certain computationally hard problems. So I'm basically in theoretical computer science, not this machine learning or artificial intelligence. This is more fancy stuff. There is another pure side of computer science wherein there is again a lot of theorem proving and a lot of mathematical background that we work on. So I again refer back to all the, say, basic linear algebra to advanced linear algebra stuff that we had studied there, to all even extending to the topological side of mathematics. So the foundation that I had in BSc maths years is still helps me in computer science, right? So if you're studying maths, that is such a cool thing. It is such an interdisciplinary subject that once you have some idea of from maths, you can go into any direction. You can go into economics, you can go into computer science, you can be a statistician. So this is such a cool subject to study, right? So okay, so when I started in Miranda, I was actually admitted into the physics department because my percent was low and the physics department's cutoff was low. I was not even admitted to the maths department. But what happened is I even joined. But what happened is when the last cutoff list came out, it was just at the verge of what my percentage were. So what I did was I just reached out to Sunila ma'am during that time, and I just pleaded before her that I don't want to study physics. That's really difficult. I want to come into maths. So, and this is the thing that I want to stress, that professors in general are very kind. All you have to do is just to reach out to them with your problems. They'll always come up with a solution. So just be there to reach out, right? So that's how my journey in maths started. And I was throughout I was just an average student sitting at the back, having my own fun, not very much into studies. Uh, but what happened is, what I was thinking during my first and second year was I wanted to just take up a job post my BSc. I was not even thinking of PhD. It was a long process, I knew, and I didn't understand how people manage to do PhD. It's such a long process, right? So what I was trying to do was, after my 3 years, I was trying to land up a job, and that happened. I was lucky that KPMG and some other companies visited our campus. I just went ahead and set on those placements, and fortunately, I got this offer from KPMG, and I joined. Post my BSc, I joined in Gurgaon. 1 month into joining, and I realized that this is so different from what studying maths was, and how it is like to work in a job environment. It always seems nice when you see people working, but it is not really easy, right? So I think during my KPMG, I worked as an analyst, wherein we had these business models, we had these PPTs regarding the business models, which I didn't understand. There were number crunching in Excel, which like made no sense to me. So I knew that I had to step out of this where I have come in. So within 4 months, I decided to take a leave from there, and this happened in November. So there was this JAM exam due in February, right? So I had like 2-3 months to prepare. So I went back, right? I think maths was a good subject, so I thought of going back to maths, because MBA was not an option for me, because even the life after MBA would be something what I had experienced during KPMG, which I did not wanted to do in the rest of my years. So I went back to maths, right? Then after clearing JAM, this was a natural process. You clear it, and you got, if your score is decent enough, you get some call from some of the IIT. Okay, so yeah, so then I started my masters in IIT Gandhinagar. So there is, I think, one difference between masters in DU and masters at IITs. And IITs, the second year of your masters is thesis oriented. It is more of research oriented. And luckily, the IIT Gandhinagar, it's a new IIT. It's not an old IIT, and so the placements are not, the alumni network is not really good. But what good thing is here is the research environment, the collaborations, because the faculties are very young. They all have done their PhDs and postdocs from abroad, so they all have their collaborators sitting all over the world, right? So it gives you a very nice research exposure. Benefiting from that, during my second year of MSc, I worked in graph theory, which is kind of at the intersection of maths and computer science. So that was the starting of the transition into computer science. So yeah, I worked with one professor, Professor Neeldhara. She's at IIT Gandhinagar in graph theory, and I started admiring her way of working, and the way she approached hard problems and tried to develop algorithms around it. So then, even in the second year, I was not sure of doing a PhD, but so I talked to her again. I reached out to her with all my confusion, and she said that we can give it a shot, and I think we'll have fun together. So that was her perspective. So then I continued that project into my PhD. Now there are multiple things here. I did during when I was enrolling into PhD, I did not have a valid net score or a valid gate score. I do not have them right now as well. So there are many people who do not have these scores, right? But what they do is they reach out to a professor, they do a JRF project under them. It's like a 3 month, 4 month long project. They understand their working style, and if it is mutual, then you can always continue it into a PhD, right? So there are always backdoor entries. I'm not demeaning the importance of these scores. If you have them, they're really good, because they help you landing up many other scholarships. They help you in even in PhD getting some extra monetary returns. They do help. But even if you are unable to clear them, then you have some backdoor entries for which you have to reach out, right? So you have to just reach out to the professors with your interest. It is also similar thing also happened with me in my second year of at Miranda, where there was one faculty during that time, Naveen sir. I'm not sure if he's there right now as well. So he just talked about that there is some workshop going on in Almora. I used to bunk some of his classes, but fortunately during that class I was there and I heard about the Almora workshop, and I just reached out, sir, okay, you don't know me, I haven't interacted much, but I'm really interested in this workshop. So that reaching out helped me landing that workshop as well. Again, a similar thing happened in masters as well. There were these internships forms floating around, and there was one form that was tangentially close to my interest, not really aligned with graph theory and algorithms, but tangentially close. It was into statistics. So I just went ahead and applied it, and reached out to the professors that I would be interested and would it be feasible for you to take me. So that again turned out really good, and I landed an internship at University of Saskatchewan. So landing these internships by reaching out really helped me build my perspective that, okay, now I can do PhD because I have some experience into how research goes and I really like it, right? So when you hear from people that, okay, this is the thing that you should do, this is the thing that you should not do, you cannot make your mind until and unless you go in the project and do it for yourself, right? You have to get your hands dirty by doing these stuff, and then only you can compare it for yourself, which is what is good for you, right? So the good thing that happened with me, although there were very many ups and downs, I was into KPMG, I left it, I didn't know what will I do if I don't clear the JAM examination, I'm not preparing for anything else. And even the first day when I entered the coaching for JAM, I get to hear that this is going to be really tough because you'll be competing with people who are already preparing for the past 6 months, for past 1 year, and I had like a gap of 1 year in my studies. So it was tough during that time, but things fell into place. But I think the good thing that happened is I went ahead and get to experience the things personally, right? I was not relying on somebody else's experience. I went ahead and did it myself, and then decided for myself, okay, that this is now what I'll be going to do, what I'll be doing. So yeah, so the couple of suggestions, the key takeaway are always reach out to your professors. They are in general very kind to help you, and 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 when you are in Delhi, okay, so in pandemic you might not be in Delhi or be working from your homes, but when you reach Delhi, then just don't stay back in your rooms, just move around, look for internships. If I look back, there were 2 summers during my bachelor's which I spent at home. So if given a chance, and if I want to do my bachelor's any different, then I would spend those 2 summers also in Delhi looking for some other internships and some more exposure and working, right? So I think the best thing that you can do is during these colleges is not being lazy and sitting at your rooms. Just go around and about and look for any sort of work that you can do, because when you do, you get the experience and then you can decide for yourself what is best for you. So yeah, I think that was my journey, and I'll be happy to take any questions at the end. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Aditi. We now invite Harshita Di to share her experiences.
Thank you so much. I would also like to share my screen if that's possible.
Yes, it is.
All right, just a second. I don't know, can you, okay. Can you share, see the screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to go into the presentation mode, just try to assemble a few slides so that it can be a bit more visual for you guys. So firstly, thank you so much again for the warm welcome and for the invite. It's a pleasure to come back and talk to everyone, also talk to my classmates. And I think although all of us have had different journeys and different experiences, from what I see, we kind of resonate pretty much the same ideas with regards to learnings and experiences. And I think I'm just here to also share something similar from my end. So yeah. All right, so this is our graduation in 2016. I think this was right after we had our graduation lunch party organized by the maths department. We got our caps, we got our scrolls, we had a nice lunch, and then we were all dressed up and we got together, we got our pictures clicked, and yeah, so just wanted to share this. I think all of us who are here might be somewhere in this picture as well. So now what for me, what happened is in 2016, I was looking for a lot of job opportunities, because for me, I wanted to focus I wanted to experience corporate work. I wanted to get some experience in that. And I also wanted to focus on data analytics and data sciences. This was a budding field and industry at that point of time. And you were like, if you went on Google, and if you read a few articles, they were just talking about how data science is building up, and how a lot of different companies are sort of picking it up and improving their businesses because of this. And I sort of developed an interest. I wanted to work towards it. So I had an opportunity from ITC and Infosys at that time. And I also had an opportunity from Ernst & Young, which was an unpaid internship, but it was in the right team. It was in the data analytics team. So it was called the performance improvement team. So they helped businesses improve, like they helped their customers improve their business via data analytics solutions or data science solutions. And although this internship was like not paid, and it was right after my bachelor's, I decided to take this up rather than the paid one with, say, ITC or Infosys, because I wanted to focus on the learnings that I would have from being in the data science or the data analytics team. And to be honest, I did get to learn a lot. I actually got to experience a lot of hands-on work with SQL, with Python, with Excel. These are some of the most common tools that you use in the industry. And you can do some online courses, of course, that it helps you, but until unless you go out there and do like a project or internship, it becomes a little difficult to sort of be more experienced with it. So this is what I got from EY. And then after a 5-month internship, they also hired me as an analyst in their team. And then I stayed with them for a year. I was again focusing on building reports, automating reports, and yeah, overall I got to learn a lot, made some good networks over there. Then in 2017, I took up a master's course in Germany. This was not initially my plan. This was actually my plan B, C, D, I don't know. My initial plan was to go to the US for my master's. A lot of my professors, Dolti ma'am as well, they helped me with writing LORs and recommendations and everything. I did get through some good universities, but I did not get a scholarship. And that's where I decided that I would actually maybe reapply next year, or maybe look into different options. And then I came across this university in Germany, which was offering a course called Mathematics in Data Science. And this was actually like a good combination of theoretical and applied maths, but focusing on data science and machine learning. So over here, I decided to take this up. And overall, this has been such a good experience for me, because along with my master's, I really developed strong concepts behind machine learning, data sciences. And I also got to do a lot of courses from the computer science and the informatics department. So also apply this knowledge in a more use this in a more hands-on experience, and do it directly in projects or internships. And the good thing is that in Germany, you can do part-time jobs along with your master's. So you can work 20 hours a week. And that's what I did. I did not want to just focus on the study part of it. I also wanted to develop myself as a professional. So I started looking for job opportunities, again, in something similar like data analytics or data sciences. And I actually was lucky to find a couple of options. I did like 1 year with Amazon in their supply chain. supply chain department, then also in their logistics and transportation department. Then I worked with a more like an NLP focused project. NLP is called natural language processing. So I was actually developing a chatbot where the chatbot can understand what you're saying and can understand your conversation, can actually converse with you. So this was one like small development or that we did with Horvath and partners. And with Vilua Healthcare, it's a startup focused on it's a healthcare startup in Germany, and it's now also expanding in US. And over there, I was actually doing really machine learning work. So, taking different health profiles of customers and trying to like extract information from them, build some health categories and scores for those kind of profiles. So like overall, I try to pick up different kind of projects, different kind of teams where you can apply data science and data analytics. So that was like the idea behind my decisions, because although I wanted to focus on data science, I still wanted to like have some diverse skills. So it took me some time to sort of push myself towards data science and machine learning, because a lot of the companies still focus on data analytics and reporting as the first step. Of course, this is like the first step when you start any data science project, but to sort of push yourself to get to the data science part and the algorithm part, it definitely requires like a bit of sort of push from your side, and you need to really tell your peers and managers that this is what you want to do, so that you can like sort of charter yourself over there. And my studies and my knowledge from bachelor's in maths was really helpful for my masters, for all my internships or work student jobs, because what you do with like for example, you do statistics, probability, you do linear algebra, you do calculus. These are all then applied to data science concepts, and they are actually like, if you pick up any algorithm, the way you will understand, because you're a math student, is completely different than somebody who has not taken up maths courses. So I thought that having that bachelor's in maths was super helpful. And it gives you, like as Deeksha mentioned earlier, that it gives you like that analytical mindset that really helps you focus and understand these concepts. And then lastly, I also try to do a bit of research work, and not just a bit of corporate. And in Germany, you need to do a 6-month long master thesis project. So over here, I tried to do it with Helmholtz Research Center, which is actually quite a well-reputed research institute in Europe. And over here, I actually got a chance to do a bit more on the biological side of machine learning. So applying machine learning on DNA data sets and mRNA data sets. Although I did not really understand a lot of the biological part of it, my advisors really helped me over there. I was focusing more on the machine learning side, but I think like it gave me a good experience. It sort of gave me more confidence to do projects independently on my own, because this is what you do in a master thesis project. And after actually doing this master thesis project, I was a bit confused whether I should take up a job now, or I should do a PhD, because I was also interested in sort of studying a bit more and like advancing my knowledge further. But I realized that that would be that would require a lot of commitment from my side, and I was not really keen on putting in that kind of effort right away, at least not right now. You still have options of industrial PhDs. Maybe I do that once I have some more experience, but I thought that I would start with, taking up a proper, like a full-time job and then seeing what I want to do later. And that's when I got an opportunity with Amazon Web Services. So this is a cloud computing platform. I'm not sure if like people over here, if people understand cloud computing, but just to give you an idea, it's basically like on demand computing services that you can avail just via this platform. So you do not need to manage your services, your systems. You just pay per second for the usage. And Amazon actually offers a wide variety of tools on its platform, and a lot of their tools actually focus on data science and machine learning. So now what my business role is that I help customers use these tools. So I get to do like different projects every 2-3 months. And that's actually the most exciting part for me, because I realized that I like to try new things after a few months. I want to sort of do something different. I want to try a different field or maybe try a different project. And sort of this kind of like ticks those boxes for me. And that's why I gave some interviews, and thankfully I was offered this job, and I've taken that up since 2020. It's been 1 year now. And it's challenging, but it's definitely it's got a very steep learning curve. And you like what I knew 1 year back and what I know now, I think it's a big difference. I think you can feel that you are more technically strong after you gain like experiences like this. And if I have still a minute or two, I would just like to end this by actually sharing a bit more information about masters in Germany, because I think this could be a good opportunity for many people out here who are looking into master's opportunities abroad. So as I mentioned that although I did apply and I did get admission to US universities, I did not get a scholarship. So for me, I wanted to take up something where I did not have to pay a lot of tuition fees. And Germany is one country where you pay like almost zero to minimal tuition fees. It's super affordable. Plus, a lot of these master courses are in English, and they might ask you to have some basic German language requirements, which you can also do when you are in India, or you can go there and do like maybe a basic course. And the good thing is that you can do the part-time jobs, as I mentioned before. So along with your masters, you are also like working and you're gaining this experience. Now, the work depends completely on you, whether you want to do a corporate job, whether you want to go into research. So there are research institutes. You can take up internships over there. You can take up internships or part-time jobs at the university, work directly with the professors, or you can also go to companies and take up opportunities there. And then, of course, Germany has a very big market growing, especially in IT. So if you are interested in sort of developing yourself over there, then I think you have a lot of opportunities here. And people should definitely look into it if you're thinking about doing your master's. Yeah, and like overall from my side, I think my advice is to try to place yourself in learning opportunities wherever you think you can learn something new, wherever you feel that this is going to take you one step ahead into your focus. Go for that. And like smaller things about companies, or whether it's a big company or a small company, whether it's a paying job, not paying job, those concerns, of course, they come up, but they come up a little later in your life, hopefully. And right now you should try and just focus yourself into whatever learnings you have, whatever learning works best according to what you have planned. Yep, that's it from my side. Happy to answer questions later, and I'll also share my email ID. So if you have more questions regarding masters in Germany, please just write to me and I will try to, respond over there.
Thank you so much. We will be taking the questions at last. Now we invite Himani B to take over.
Himani, you're on mute, I think.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, hi everyone, and I hope you guys are doing well. And I was just saying that it's interesting to know about all the journeys, because although I knew about what you guys were up to, I never really knew what went through, in your minds and how you went about it. So that's really interesting to know, even if it's at this point in time. And hi to the fellow juniors. And I'm not too sure if we have do we have the entire batch, the first year, second year, or the third year? Is that the case?
The first years are yet to join.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, all right. So I think a lot has been said, a lot of great advice has already been given. So I think I'll probably focus on my journey more than the advice. And I think it's my journey. I'll probably start from the time when I was in 11th and 12th grade and what I thought about doing with my life then. So I was pretty ambitious in the sense that I knew I always wanted to earn my own money and be independent and, just have a good life. So that was the premise of whatever I wanted to do in life. And in 11th and 12th grade, I did prepare for IIT and all as well, but I could not get a very good rank. And DU essentially was a backup option for me. So I gave my board exams. I got a good enough percentage to get into Miranda House, which I think was a very good decision in hindsight, which is always usually the case. I mean, in hindsight, it seems like a good decision. And I went into the college. I enjoyed maths in 11th and 12th grade, but I wasn't too sure how I'd like it and, studying it for 3 years, but it turned out fine for me. And since my motivation, I mean, once I started studying mathematics, I realized that I probably would not be interested in the academics so much, because I was someone who would probably want to go out there and, meet people, interact with people, do things on my own. So I was probably more of that personality by nature. And I think I understood myself well enough by then. So the next thing I did was I realized that I had to prepare for CAT if I want a corporate job, a good enough one because I mean, of course, I want to have a platform and something I can bank upon. So I did my CAT prep when I was in my second year, I think in December. So I joined Time, and I think a couple of you also reached out to me on LinkedIn asking about my CAT journey. So I'm just going to talk about that as well in brief. And I did a lot of hard work. I completed all my modules. I gave a lot of mock tests. I analyzed them all in detail. I cried as well a couple of times because some of the results are not too good. But towards the end of the CAT prep journey, I used to get a decent run of score, and I was happy about it. So I gave CAT the first time. It was in my third year, I think 30 November. And it did not go too well. I mean, I got something in early 90s, but it was not a very good score to get into a good college. And I also gave, I also applied for the tier 2 colleges, MBA colleges here in India, and I got through some of them, but I realized that they'll probably not be worth it in terms of where I want to be in my life. So I just chucked them for a while. And I was like, so after that, what happened is I decided to sit for placements while I was preparing for my CAT interviews and, the CAT exam as well, because I wanted to have a backup option in case the CAT plan did not come through. So I went to the Delhi University main placement cell, along with Harshit, I remember, and we gave a couple of interviews. We did not hear any of those as far as I remember. But then I got through this one firm. It was a logistics firm based out of Bangladesh, and I worked with them for about a year. I visited Bangladesh. This was just after, I think, the terrorist attack, the ISIS attack, and I had a good time there. I was working with the firm. I realized, I do not have enough time to prepare for CAT again. So what do I do about it? So I thought that I'll probably give a couple of mocks. And I knew Harshita was preparing for, I've never said this to you, Harshita, but I knew you were preparing for a master's abroad. And I was like, okay, I have Harshita to bank on. I'll go to her and ask her all the details, and I'll probably move out as well. So that was my another backup plan. So I had a couple of things going on in my mind. अच्छा ये नहीं हुआ तो ये करना है, ये नहीं हुआ तो ये करना है. So that was my mindset. So I was working at a firm, but I gave CAT again, and without a lot of prep, because I had already had the foundation of good prep in my first attempt. Gave probably like 4 to 5 mocks, and I got a good enough score this second time. And really, I mean, I was not expecting it because I had not studied a lot the second time, but I got a good percentile. And I mean, then I got a call from the couple of the IIMs, the top IIMs as well. I was still at the job that I was on, which I did not like a lot, to be very frank. And so I thought, okay, let's go with it. So I took a couple of weeks off from my work. I told them I have a wedding, which is probably not, I lied, but anyway. So, and then I prepared for the interviews quite a bit. So I would say that I was never a very sincere student. In my, and Dolithy ma'am would agree with it, and my fellow classmates as well. And my only motivation to go to college was to like have fun and also have a good enough percentage. So I knew that if I have to get into IIM Ahmedabad, I need a 85% score. So I used to maintain that somehow. And I mean, I didn't really bother too much if I was getting 86 or 87, because I thought it doesn't really matter in the longer term. So I mean, don't listen to me, please work hard. But anyway, so I did that. And I also, I mean, prepped a lot for CAT, so that was always on the side. And then I gave my interviews. I mean, I probably studied more in my IIM interviews, like the CAT interviews. I studied maths probably more than I ever did in my undergrad as well. I mean, I did study a lot of maths before my interviews. So I got through IIMA. I went to IIMA after that, and I was there for 2 years, the MBA program. And I interned with MasterCard in the summers, and I got the PPO, and I've been working with them for the last 2.5 years. So that's been my journey until now. And with MasterCard, if I have to talk about it in brief, I work as a consultant. So MasterCard essentially is a fintech firm. It's a network via which you can do card payments. And what we do is MasterCard has a lot of data, which it gets via payments. So as a part of the consulting team, we essentially consult the clients we have, which are banks, merchants, let's say like Agora, right? So we consult these partners that we have using our data and our expertise in payments. So I'm a part of, I won't call it internal consulting because we don't consult MasterCard, but it's external consulting in a way. But we already are in touch with those clients in one way or the other because of the core MasterCard, I mean, brand that we have. So if I talk about my work right now, so what I'm doing right now is I'm working with this Australian bank. And it's a huge bank in Australia, and they're working in acquiring. Acquiring essentially is how you accept payments. How does a merchant, let's say a shopkeeper, accept payments easily? So that's acquiring. That's the acquiring side of the bank. So we're trying to tell them how to get better at acquiring. We're looking at the competitors, the startups that are coming up, and we're just formulating a strategy for them. So this is what I'm currently working on, and I would say that I do enjoy working in the corporate space. And I think the big reason is that MasterCard is a good firm to work for. So, I mean, it provides the work-life balance, etc., which I think is a very good privilege that I have as well, because I work in a big corporate. If I were to, let's say, work in a firm, what Aditi mentioned, let's say, if I did not enjoy my environment so much, then I probably won't have been that happy. But I mean, as of now, it's going well for me, and I intend for it to be this way going forward. So this has been my journey until now in terms of career. And if I talk about a couple of learnings that I've had, is that it's a lot of it is about self-awareness. What I mean, you have to understand what you want, who you are, what your skills are. Are you ambitious? Some people are not ambitious, and that's completely fine. I feel if you're not ambitious, don't beat yourself up for it. It's fine. If you're ambitious, go for it. So right now, what I feel like my next step would be is to probably move out of the country, live on my own for a while. And I spoke to Harshita about it as well. So I think that's how I see it. And other than that, just, I mean, yeah, no advice. Everyone already has given a lot of advice. So if you have any questions, I think we're running out of time as well. So let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Manidi. We will now be taking questions. So if any one of you have any questions, you can either raise your hand, we'll give you the platform to talk.
Ayushi, there is one question in the chat box. Maybe
Yeah.
you can ask that.
So Himanidi, we have a question for you. Like, how did you prepare for your CAT exam? Personal interview, basically.
Just one. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So are you talking about the interview or the exam?
It's
Whatever.
the interview, I guess. Yeah.
The interview. Okay. Right. So that was a pretty tricky thing for me because I actually had 2 weeks of leave and the interview was in 3 weeks. I got the call. And I was quite confused as to how do I go about it because I was not even in the prep system for a long time. So I went to this like mentor who basically used to take classes for 200 students. I went there. It was my first day off of work for my prep, and I sat there, and there were 200 other students, and he was talking about Indian mythology, and I was like, no, like this is not going to cut it for me. Nobody's going to talk about Indian mythology for one in my interviews, and even if they do, I'll probably forget it by then. So I realized pretty early on that this is not the way I have to go about the interviews. So next, what I did was, considering how less time I had, I basically went through all the interviews I could find online. I went through every basically all IIMS interviews, A, B, C, whatever. And then I try to understand what the interviewer is looking for and what leads to acceptance and rejection. So I looked at the interviews in which they got accepted. I looked at the interviews in which they got rejected. And I try to have some understanding of what they want. And when I think I realized that they want you to have a good grasp of your own subject. Like you have to be good in something, right? I mean, if they ask you a question in math, let's say if they ask 5 questions in math, you can't be like, I don't know any of them. It's fine if you don't know 2 of them, but you have to have a good understanding of the subject per se, right? So that's one. And then I also realized that they look for people who like have some hobbies. So I used to read a lot anyway. So I read up a couple of other books. So I knew I had something to talk about. And it's actually random. So in my IMA interview, I was asked a question, what's your biggest fear? So you can't really prepare for such questions, right? So I it just came to me and I said that being complacent is my biggest fear. So I think it's a lot about how you can control your own mind in the interview and not be anxious and have some basic understanding of how the world works, what's going on around you, etc. So I think it's a culmination of that. And they always look for someone who's like a bit relaxed and is not too stressed about things. I think that's another thing to have. So yeah.
Thank you, Dee. I hope Akriti's question has been answered. Next question we have from Devanshi. She is also asking to you that CAT 2021 is in November and there's very less time. So what could be the strategy from now on for the CAT preparation?
I would say that this is really quite this is not enough time to prepare end to end. So if you already have some background, maybe you could start taking some mocks and see what your score is. So you have some understanding of where you stand right now. So I would say just like give 2-3 mocks and see where you are. Yeah. And just take it from there.
And next question we have from Archie to Aditi B. You said that you started your preparation for GEM in November. How did you get your motivation and what your strategy was to cover the syllabus and get a good rank? The same question she asked to Garima D as well.
Okay, yeah, it is true that I started preparing in November and the exam was due in February. So I had like a complete only 2 months to prepare for. But the motivation came from the fact that I had left my job. I had no other option to go for. So when you are stuck in that situation, all you do is just focus and try to do the best as you can. But you don't need to, like study for 12 hours or do anything extra. It's just maintain your routine, go for walks, go to your friends, talk to them, spend some time for yourself, and just focus on the conceptual part of it. Because JAM and all these competitive exams mainly, and try to look at the question paper from a question setter's point of view, right? If you are a question setter, what concept do you feel is important, and just go to teachers and ask what is the most important topic of this entire subject, right? and focus on the concepts of it. So the jam will always revolve around the conceptual part of it, and then a little bit of practice for a month or two of the questions is enough to clear, at least I can speak for jam, if not for other competitive exams. A practice for 1 or 2 months is enough. And if I can do that, I was always an average student throughout in Miranda, right? I was not among toppers, or even I did not clear the cutoff for Delhi University Master's program, right? I was an average student. I was not even attentive in classes. If I can do it in 2 months, any one of you can do it in a decent time period. So yeah.
Yeah, like I would I totally agree with what Aditi said, and I also started preparing. Like I took the weekend classes, and in as soon as my third year started, like the exam happens in February, so I also prepared from September till February. And yes, I would suggest all of you to not be too stressed about it, and do not worry if you do not have a very good score in your college, because I was totally shocked after the exam result came out that all the people who got 90 above percentage, they could not even clear the jam exam. And some people some of the other people who were like me, I also had 83% after I graduated the college. And I did not get a very good rank. I got around 720 rank, and using that, with that rank, I got into good after the counseling process, I was getting some good NITs. Basically, my first cutoff, I was getting admission in NIT Jamshedpur, and they were after further counseling, you could actually get other good NITs. So, and I don't believe the education, the course system and the curriculum actually varies from between the IITs or the NITs. So you do not have to feel that we did not get any good IITs, and why, should we even join NIT or not? So yes, at that time I felt that a lot of people were questioning that maybe it's not worth to join an NIT. So I don't think so that's the correct answer. It's about after you join, how much work you put in. And the same placement sessions happen, placement programs and everything happens just like the IITs at NITs also. So you do not have to worry about it. And yes, I took the weekend classes. I did not go to the coaching basically every day, and I joined a coaching institute with that I had classes on the weekends. And yes, another thing is that you do not have to study all of the syllabus. So based on the previous year, you can see some of, so what from which part of the domain, how many marks of questions are asked. And suppose you're not good in one particular domain, and you because only around, if you get around 45 marks in jam exam, then you're good enough. You might get a good rank under 300 or 400. So with that, you do not have to cover 100% syllabus. You can just skip some part of it, and then prepare with what you have, and be sure whatever you prepare, you're preparing well. And just finish all the even if you're not joining any coaching institute, then a lot of what do you call it, the course book or the sample books basically, which have all the questions, the past year questions, you just solve them and don't skip any of it. Just complete it, and I think that will be fine. You don't have to worry about it. Yes, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dee. Next question we have for Harshita Dee. So Harshita Dee, Deeksha is asking that she wishes to know more about Masters in Mathematics in Operational Research from TUM and the opportunities and scopes of it.
Yeah, so I just want to add there that I also mentioned this, it's really on you how you want to charter it. The courses in Germany, for example, you have placements over here. You do not have placements in Germany. You need to do that on your own. You need to find the right kind of opportunity that you want. So it really depends on what you want to focus on. If you want to do research, then you have a lot of research institutes. You have Max Planck, you have Helmholtz, they're big renowned institutes. You can talk to professors there. You can get yourself some internship opportunities over there. Or if you want to go into corporate and you're living in again, this depends on which kind of city you live in. So I'm staying in Munich, which is actually quite a big city. So over here you have big companies with their offices. So that's why you have these kind of opportunities. And if you want to focus on sort of a corporate side to it, then I will say that You can do part-time jobs, you can do internships. And if you are at TUM, if you've got into a mathematics degree at TUM, then you are already sort of well respected over here, because of the background and the experience or the academic knowledge that you have. And you get, like, in especially in internships and part-time jobs, you do not have a lot of pressure on delivering a certain requirement. It's really, they give you time to learn, they give you time to grow. And then, working with companies like this, you also eventually land up jobs with them. So there is a lot of scope even in operations research. But yes, you cannot just focus on math side of it. You would have to also build up your technical skills if you want to take up this course.
Harshadi, adding on to that, Jia asked like MSc in data science or MSc in applied mathematics abroad.
Analytics. Okay, yeah. I was actually writing that. So instead of picking up a particular degree, I would rather focus on the course structure that is provided from the university. So a lot of these universities provide you, like, they give you the name of all the papers that they would cover in every semester, or what the whole plan is, whether they give you project opportunities, whether they give you internship opportunities, etc. I would rather focus on that whole course structure. And I have seen that having a more theoretical oriented course really helps you, because then you understand the concepts, like the underlying concepts. So instead of just taking a skill based course, I would suggest that you take up something that's a little more theoretical. And after coming from a bachelor's in mathematics, it would not be very difficult for you to sort of adapt yourself to a data science or applied mathematics course. And I think most of the universities that have applied mathematics courses sort of provide specializations in data science or machine learning. So yeah, I would look into the course paper structure or the degree structure rather than just the name of the degree.
Okay, thank you. Next question is from Pragati. She also asks you that she has been trying to learn ML courses but cannot fully understand all the softwares that are available. So any tips to learn ML and how much knowledge is enough to land in a job like machine learning?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, I will say, because like I don't know if you're doing this online, Pragati, or if you are actually taking up like proper courses in some place. I would say that try to do Kaggle competitions. So you have a lot of these data science competitions online, and actually they give you a data set, and then they just ask you to sort of uh, create a model out of it and give you some sort of accuracy on the prediction, and it's like a competition. So I think that could be helpful. And with regards to ML, there are a lot of good online courses, especially on Coursera from Andrew NG. I'll just write that here. This guy is from Columbia University, and he provides really good courses. And I think that picking up a bit of this theoretical knowledge and doing these kind of Kaggle competitions would be helpful.
Okay.
And like enough, sorry, yeah. Just want to add there that like there's no like fine line between, okay, this knowledge is enough or that knowledge is not. I would say that if you're looking for a job in this field, then you need to show that you've done some project basically, or you've got some experience in, like, you understand these concepts. So that's why I suggest the Kaggle competitions. Like, you can then, when you go into an interview, you can explain what you did in that competition, and it also helps them to understand what you know.
Okay, thank you so much, Harshita Di. The next question is from Avishka Tandon, and this is for all the seniors here. So she's asking that she has heard people, we all have heard people saying that BSc, after BSc Mathematics Honors, you can only do Masters or you can only do a PhD, and that will land you a job in teaching. So is this myth true or not?
Oh, I think this myth is not true because three of us are sitting here who are not doing PhDs and they are doing really fine, doing their jobs of their choices. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think like Aditi, it depends on your interest area.
Yeah. So I was saying, to add to that, it's a STEM degree after all. You can leverage it any way you want. I mean, you have to chart your own path, but really anything is possible. You don't have to think that only this is possible, that is possible. You can do whatever you want, really. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
And I think to add to that, PhD always do not lend to teaching because you have, so all these big companies, even starting from TCS to Google, they all have their research wings, right? And they recruit people who have a PhD. That is their minimum criteria. So, right, so if you want to go into research field, PhD is something that has now become a minimal criteria to land a good research-oriented jobs in even in these big corporate giants. So yeah, teaching is like not the only thing that you take up post a PhD.
I hope this answers Avishka's question. The next question is for Harshita Di, and this is from Anushka. She says that I am more academically inclined and have a huge interest in data science, especially the mathematics involved in it. I wish to pursue my master's from India only and later on apply abroad. Is MSc in mathematics the best option, or options like masters in statistics or computer science or operational research should be considered?
All right. So I have seen a lot of people doing pure maths, theoretical maths, also get into data science. And it also, like, the advantage over there is that your like your theory is better, that you can do more research kind of opportunities in that case. But if you're interested in data science, you need to also build up your technical side. You need to be able to code well. You need to be able to code in all these the most how do I say, the most new tools that are in the market. Python, R, you should be able to do visualizations. So if you want to do an MSc in maths in India, for sure, go for it. But I will suggest that along with that, you should look into internships or just projects where you can actually also do your you can also build up your technical side, because without coding it gets really difficult if you want to just focus on the research part, because data science needs you should be able to code well if you want to do data science. I hope that answers it.
Yes. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yes. Next question we have from Dia, that she wishes to know about the competitive exams and other criteria that she must qualify to get into Tokyo Tech.
Okay, so it's yeah. So thank you for your interest in Japan. Yes, actually, it's not just Tokyo Tech. There are a lot of other good universities also, and talking about coming to Japan, I think it would require, and it would be really important and essential also for you to have some kind of scholarship, because it's a very difficult. Even if you do like as in Germany here also, you're allowed to do like part time for 28 hours per week, but I believe that it's not enough to also pay for your tuition fees and also to sustain here. So I think there are a lot of scholarships available, and yes, not just the government scholarship, but a lot of organizations and companies, they provide scholarships for students all over the world, so that they can just come here, because Japan is actually looking for a lot of people who are interested in research, and they want to build up a very technical society in here. So yes, I applied for a government scholarship, because at that time that was the email that I received from my academical department at IIT Mandi. And with this scholarship is basically available two ways to apply for the scholarship. One is the basically a university recommendation system, and the another one is the embassy recommendation system. And both of these scholarship basically to apply and then to receive it and then to finally come to Japan, this whole process takes for a complete 1 year you would require for that. So you need to apply early so that you will be able to go next year in April or September. So yes, in both the processes are more like similar, but in the embassy recommended system, you first need to clear the language exam and the interview specific to your field which you're applying to at the embassy of Japan, and later on you approach the professor for the letter of acceptance. And in the university, and yes, in this process also, in the embassy process, basically you come as a research student, and after preparing a little bit, then you can easily take up the master's entrance examination or the doctoral entrance examination. And then if you're applying via the university recommendation system, so in that you first basically talk to a professor, and then you show that your interest, basically that provided he is also interested in your candidature. And then after there is a mutual agreement, then you may proceed back to applying the university recommended a scholarship basically. So in that way, the university recommendation basically happens at each university, but embassy recommendation happens first at the embassy, and then you choose whichever university you want to go. So yes, that's all about it. And I can go far more in detail, but that would take too much of time. So if anybody has any questions about it, you can just write me an email and I'll answer straightforward. Thank you.
Dolly ma'am wants to say something again.
Yeah. So Garima, I have one question from you, that you are mentioning that to qualify the embassy exam,
yes, ma'am.
You were supposed to give the language exam, right?
Basically, ma'am, it's not a Japanese language exam. So for students that are living in India, like for me, they do not consider the Japanese, but for they take an English language exam basically. So it's not necessary that you have already taken the IELTS exam or any other English language exam. You do not need to require that, but at the embassy, you need to clear that English language exam. Yes.
Okay. Because I thought maybe if it's a Japanese, from where did you learn?
No. So
thank you, Garima.
Yes. So after you come to Japan, so for 6 months, as a research student, they provide free intensive Japanese course. So while you're working as a research student, you can just attend those Japanese classes for an hour or 2 hours every day at the university. And then it becomes really easy, just to know the basic, and then you're good to go, I think. Yes.
Thank you, Garima Di. So this is more of a personal question to Harshita Di and Deeksha
So
Di.
did you join?
Yes, ma'am. I took the the intensive course, and yes, I learned the basic Japanese here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this one is for Deeksha Di and Harshita Di. So I want to ask that there are various online courses available of data science and data analytics. So is there a difference when we go for a master's degree in data science or maybe something applied mathematics? So is that degree worth doing than the online courses that are available, landing us in a corporate sector?
Well, so maybe to answer your question, I would say that I'm also learning data science from last 1.5 years now. And I have not enrolled in any course or anything because I'm not sure if there is anything available in India that is good enough to pay a lot of money. So when you are enrolled in any organization, when you're working with them, so they also have some collaboration with say Coursera or DataCamp or something like that. So I have learned through that courses. And also when Harshita also mentioned about the Kaggle platform, so that was really helpful. Even I went to Kaggle platform I did some projects over there. Say one I did for credit card fraud detection project. So some fancy projects are also available over there. You can see the data, and you can not see the solution of it, but you can just work into your own direction with how you can develop the models into it and how you can get good prediction out of it. So as Harshit also mentioned about coding, so when I was in my first job, I did coding in SAS. I also did a little bit of Python, not in extensively that much. So when I was into Kaggle platform, I learned Python a lot. Then there is something called Hacker Rank. I think in that you can also learn programming languages, and they have some intermediate to advanced levels in which you can practice. So I think this is something which really helped me. I'm still not sure if there is anything in India that I can go and do it. Yes, there is one course in IIM Calcutta which I found. So it's a collaboration with IIM Calcutta, then IIT Kharagpur, and one more ISI. So it's a postgraduate diploma course in data science. It's a very good course. Since I am already into corporate, I feel I can learn it by taking some projects within my organization. So that is something which I am doing. But for you guys, I think you can also consider that as an option. I think it's a wonderful course. You can go through it. Yeah, and it has similar things like CAT. So if you prepare for CAT, you can also sit for that particular entrance.
Just want to add here one more thing. I think definitely like a lot of people who are currently working in data science did not actually go through a proper data science course. I think they developed themselves while working. So it's really like I am somebody who needs a little more guidance, and that's why for me in particular the degree really helped, because it did not like it gave me introduction to a lot of different fields within machine learning and data science. So it talked about cloud computing, it covered data engineering, it covered the theoretical concepts of regression, time series, clustering. So it really depends. If you feel confident enough after like that you can develop yourself into it, definitely go for it as a start at least. Because there are a lot of people who have come say from many like engineering courses and are doing data science. So maybe they had like some very basic math courses, but they focused more on the coding part and they've sort of got themselves here. Or there are people who just did maths and they've developed their technical side and they've got themselves there. So if you have if you can guide yourself towards it, then definitely it's a good option. For me personally, the degree helped because I sort of got an introduction to a lot of different things at the same time. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to add.
So like there is a degree in TUM, that operational research and data analytics. So would it be worth it doing it from there and not going for certain online courses and then sitting for some placements in this sector?
I think then the question becomes whether it's required to do a master's degree at all, right? So I mean, there are people doing bachelors and they're doing really well in their jobs. They've rise. They're doing their corporates. They're in a corporate job and they've like risen really well. They're not even doing a master's. That's completely fine. So like for me, it gave me a huge jump in my career from what I was doing at Gurgaon and what I'm doing right now here in Germany. That the gap and the jump was because of the TUM master's degree. So but at the same time, there are people from India who are also working in the same company like me and who have not done a master's degree. Maybe they did their bachelor's in India and they've come here. So it's really your journey. It's really what you think, what you want to do 2 years down the line, and whether you want to do it via doing like online courses, or whether you want to do a course in Germany. Like doing a course in Germany has its own advantages. It's not just the degree, right? It's just a lot of other kinds of experiences as well. So I think that's sort of an advantage with it.
Thank you so much for answering the questions. I would now like to hand over to Trisha.
Hi, yes. Next question is for Garima Di. So, hello, am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, next question is for Deeksha Di. So Astha is asking, how did you go about your job searching, and could you tell us more about masters from DU?
Yeah, sure. So, as I told earlier, like Masters from DU is a little difficult because it's a lot theoretical. There are very few courses which you can select are applied. So basically, in a semester, maybe one course will be applied. The three will be very much theoretical. So it's like that, but then it also helps you to understand the subject more closely. Like whatever you used to learn over here in algebra, say, or in calculus, you will understand a lot in detail over there. So it will obviously expand your mind, and it will also help you to understand a lot of things from the mathematic domain perspective. Um, Coming to the job searching, I I relied on basically on LinkedIn. I used to, so there is an option in LinkedIn where you can directly message the recruiters. You can send them your CV, but not a cold email, but a very formal email. You can introduce yourself, what you have done, and what roles you're going to apply into, what skill set you have. So just a brief introduction about yourself in 2 3 lines, and then forward them your resume. Um, in most cases, it really helped me to have an interview. Uh, Apart from that, I also, I took help of my contacts. So LinkedIn is about contact building. It's not like if you don't know the person, you can't message it to them. It's a platform where you have to expand the professional contacts, and you can ask anyone in LinkedIn if you have chatted with them. You can ask them to refer uh, for a referral, and they're happy to refer you in the organization because. People get referral bonus if you are hired, so it's no harm for them. They're happy to do it. And apart from that, I also worked on my skill set. I didn't rely on my current job role which I was into. If I was looking for a switch, I did some learning, and I improved my CV also in that way. And it should not highlight on one particular thing. It should be diverse. If you're also looking for Kaggle projects, it should not be into, say, banking domain. You can also look into healthcare. You can also do some, if you're doing some machine learning models, you can also do some NLP ones, some deep learning. So, you can just do uh, a uh, different group of projects, and also you can expand your CV in that way. I guess that answers the question.
Yes, thank you so much. I request all of you to switch on your cameras so that we can have a group photograph. Aditya, are you taking a photograph?
Yes, I am. I'm just waiting if anybody else.
Yeah, please, for a photograph we can.
Okay, if everybody's here, I'm clicking.
Thank you so much.
I would now like to invite Dolti ma'am to say some few words.
Just 1 second, girls. Yeah. So thank you so much, Deeksha, Himani, Aditi, Harshita, and Garima. Thank you so much for sharing your learning experience. And I'm sure this session will really help our current students in shaping their future. And I would like to say to all of you also, Deeksha, Himani, Aditi, Harshita, and Garima, especially to all of you, that please don't stop here. And we are waiting to hear more victories from you in future. And I would like to share one quote from Dr. Dahia. He says that, what kind of future do I envision for myself? What kind of self am I trying to develop? What do I want to accomplish in my life? The thing is to paint this vision of your life in your heart as specifically as possible. Very clearly write down your goals. That painting itself becomes the design of your future. So with this, I would really, wish you all a very, very best in life, that all of you really do best in your life, making your parents, your teacher feel proud on you. And thank you so much, girls. You came here, and I hope that in future, I invite you all again, once again, with some new victories in your life, and to our current students also, along with them. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would like to call upon our president, Ms. Manisha Kumari, to come forward and say a few words.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, alumni, for sharing your journey, and we are looking forward to it. And as we move towards the end of the program, this is Manisha Kumari, and I'm the president of the Sankhya Department of Mathematics. And I feel privileged to share my vote of thanks to all of you for coming and join us for this great event. Okay, so I'm not saying any fancy words because that was a really interactive session and we learned a lot from all of you. And as Aditi shared that, look in and look out, and that is something which we will look forward and we'll try to apply this in our mindset and whatever we are looking forward. Okay, so my heartfelt thanks to everyone for glorifying this event with your presence and making this event a great success. And also my deep sense of gratitude to all the volunteers for their hard work and enthusiasm. Thank you, everyone. And yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
I had a
Thank
love
you
for inviting us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All the best. And
you.
reach out to me if you want. Yeah.
Garima, there is a little request to you.
Yes.
Like so many people have personally DM'd me, they wanted to show the and like, can you please show us your balcony or something?
Oh, actually, I'm really sorry, but this is not a great view from here because yes, I am on the second floor and the windows are on that side. But I'll definitely share photos later. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sure. Students are DMing me like they want to see the Tokyo.
And same request is for Harshita Di.
Yeah, Harshita Di, yeah, as well.
I can actually take you out the balcony, but it's just garden outside. Just a second.
Can you guys still hear me? Just
yeah.
Please don't mind the mess in my apartment.
Sure.
Very clumsy.
A second. So yeah, it's quite bright and sunny outside today. We'll be going for a walk soon. I don't know if you can see. It's just a garden.
Thank you so much, Lee.
worries.
We will be circulating a feedback form, so every one of you is requested to fill it. Thank you so much for joining in. We are now officially ending the session. Thank you so much, seniors, for
Thank
joining
you.
in.
All the best.
Thank you, everyone. All the
Thanks,
best.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.